You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast. Starring Pete Ruggieri, Larry Maris, and Jason Lewis. This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. So sit back and enjoy some Masonic conversation without pretension. And now, here's your hosts, Pete, Larry, and Jason.
Hey everybody, welcome to Masonic Light Podcast. We're here at episode 54.
54,
Larry.
54.
And unfortunately, we have a missing person tonight. Jack called out sick a couple hours ago with a back injury. Anyway, hey, we have a great guest anyway.
we do.
And I think Jack kind of facilitated it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
so pretty much.
State Deputy Senior Master Counselor. Is that the correct title, Tyler?
Deputy State Master Counselor.
Deputy State Master Counselor. There we go. Tyler Moyer out of Harrisburg. So welcome.
Thank you, yeah.
He's not related to Jeff Moyer, is he?
Gosh, I hope not.
Or Alan.
No,
Alan.
Alan and I do have a running joke that he's my dad, so.
Okay.
I don't know. You're about 3 feet taller than Alan, so I'm pretty. We don't need to go to Ancestry.com for that one. So what we do here, Tyler, is we go around the room and we just discuss what we've done Masonically over the past couple of weeks. And I always start with Jason because he's on my left and he's always not ready. So let's see how he's doing this week.
Well, I didn't do much. No. Work, same old. Unfortunately, the Freemasonry in general and Pennsylvania Freemasonry in particular lost a great brother recently. The illustrious Jeffrey Coy, who was our grand treasurer and also the active in our area for the Scottish Rite. So I was at the funeral today, so it would be a week ago once you listen to this. It was kind of a sad place to be, but a nice celebration of his life. All the Grand Line were there, but the Grand Line was also in town because they had the quarterly in Penn State. So I had family in town, kid graduating. Couldn't go to the quarterly, but I hear it was well attended. And so that's pretty much I don't want to say highlight because that sounds terrible, but that's pretty much, aside from work, the most Masonic thing that I've done. We're getting into the beginning of the month, so stated meetings and all that are coming up.
Tyler, have you done anything Masonically, DeMolay, anything lately?
Yeah, just last weekend I was out in Pittsburgh area and I gave a flower talk presentation to a lodge out there with one of our chapters. About 2 weeks before that, I was in Missouri. I got to go down to their state convention, meet a bunch of brothers out there. And then just coming up, I know I have DeMolay International Sessions, which is our big international get-together.
Where's that?
That's in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay. Is it in other countries sometimes being international?
No, it's so far in our first 99 years of existence, it's only been in the United States, and then every year that ends in 9, it's in Kansas City. So next year it's going to be.
That is like a third world country out there. Sounds pretty neat. So when you go there, are you going by yourself? Because you're an adult, you're old enough to drive. You going by yourself? You going with family? Who are you going with?
No. So what we're going to do probably is I'll be going as a delegate for Pennsylvania. So probably going down with our state master counselor, and then it's broken into 2 parts. So there's the DeMolay International Congress, and then there's the International Supreme Council, which is the adult side of things. So there'll be a group of adults representing Pennsylvania coming down as well.
I think it's a murder of adults. Or that's crows. That's crows.
Yeah,
that's
crows is a murder.
A Congress. That's geese. I don't know. Larry.
A gaggle.
Hey, Larry.
Yo.
Have you done anything?
I remember I just got back from Maine and New Hampshire last weekend. So my first Masonic function was to go to the lodge in Cochranville Scarrett Lodge, and I did a presentation there, which you came in on as well. That's the most I've done in the past 3 weeks, really, because I've been out of town for 2 weeks. So I dived right into it. Yep, that's it.
Are we ready to discuss that yet?
Oh, I couldn't attend, but I'd love to hear how this went. If it was anything like his talk he gave at Lamberton, did he put everybody to sleep?
Well, the first 45 minutes were pretty good. and then it started to trail, and then we started losing people.
The whole thing took 17 and a half minutes. I timed it.
There was
Did you sneak out the back for your own presentation?
There was
Larry?
it was a good message, and the first, he built it up and came to a conclusion, and it would have been a good time to end it. And then he started on another story and built it up and had another conclusion, and it would have been a good time to end it.
What was the topic?
Masons in education.
Yeah.
How we need to be more involved in education.
Public education.
Yeah. So of course Larry forgot to turn his phone off. So that went off at some point. I think Scott Helm, the worshipful master, was the only one who noticed, and he was kind of cool about it. Now somebody else on the other side of the room, their phone kept going off.
It went off twice, loud.
And there was a really grumpy senior past master behind him who was not a big fan of that happening.
Well, he was the district deputy.
Oh yeah. It was
Craig.
Craig Schaefer, district deputy. He was polite about it, but I could just see he's like, "Come on, man."
So let me get this straight. Scott Helm, who's been on the show, actively sought you out to speak at his lodge.
Yes, he did.
So this is all Scott's fault. That's
Yeah. He deserves what he got.
You should know better, Scott.
On the other hand, though, he invited me to bring books. You want to tell him about that?
And Larry was so busy just flapping his gums to Craig Schaefer that he's got 3 guys that want to buy books, and I'm trying. Hey, Larry, get the money, Larry. Get the money. And he's just so fascinated that somebody's talking to him about his book. Oh, my goodness. So I guess that's really it. That's all I did Masonically.
Bailed me out.
Yeah, I had I was away this past weekend with a bunch of Masons, but it wasn't a Masonic event. So that's really it.
Nice. Should we go to break?
We'll go to break and come back with Tyler.
All right.
And welcome back. We're here at episode 54, and our guest is Tyler Moyer. So I'm not going to do a Larry. I am not going to run down your resume. Tyler, once again, tell us what your title is.
So I'm currently the Deputy State Master Counselor of Pennsylvania DeMolay.
Okay, and where is your home chapter?
So I belong to Pilgrim Chapter, which meets at the Scottish Rite Cathedral in Harrisburg.
Okay, so you meet where Jason works.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually witnessed him working?
I've seen him at the water cooler. So
Man.
Yeah, it's kind of like a baby pigeon or a seagull. I'm sure they exist, but nobody's ever seen one.
Exactly.
In all fairness, you're usually coming in when I'm going out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I'm usually coming in around 6, 7 o'clock, and
And we literally walk past the water cooler at the same time.
yeah.
So could you just, not to put you on spot, but can you give us a little bit of history or a little bit of background about DeMolay, just for, if we have listeners that don't know about it?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I feel it is it's a youth-driven leadership organization for young men, 12 to 21 years old. It started in Kansas City, Missouri, back in 1919, and since then it's grown, it's blossomed into what it is today. It's 25 countries around the world.
And Kansas City.
There's upwards of 3 million young men who have been DeMolays, Walt Disney, Buzz Aldrin.
Now, was a senior DeMolay. So that I asked this earlier in the green room, if you will.
Are you a DeMolay for life?
You are, yeah. So he is a senior DeMolay, I should say. But yeah, that's basically senior DeMolay is anyone who reached that majority age of 21 years old.
And what are the qualifications? If somebody wants to be in the DeMolay, what do you need to do?
So one of the main ones is just be between 12 and 21 years old. But we're also looking for young men of good moral character, and there needs to be a belief in a supreme being. We don't really specify which supreme being you believe in.
So very similar to Freemasonry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, is there a Masonic component that you have to be related to a Freemason?
No. I believe in the beginning there was sort of that Masonic component that you need to be related to a Mason or be the friend of someone who is related to a Mason. I believe in one of the early ritual books, too, it says that DeMolay is for sons of Masons and their chumps.
And they're chumps?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I guess maybe chum is a shortening of chump. I don't know. I hope so.
And they're chumps.
And they're chumps.
Yeah.
Huh.
Hey, Larry, you're over there playing on your phone. You want to join us?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, welcome back.
So Tyler, when is you're running for an office? What are you running for?
I'm actually running to be State Master Counselor of Pennsylvania DeMolay this July.
Okay, so is their election really complex, just like every other Masonic organization?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's you get nominated, you accept your nomination, then you give a prepared speech, and then you have to answer 2 questions, and then we go right to elections.
How many men are going to be hopefully nominated?
Yeah, so it's going to be just 2 people, myself and another young man.
Now, you've already been nominated, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens at
the same time.
at convention, yeah.
Okay. But if somebody wanted to throw a monkey wrench in the gears, that's just frowned upon.
Yeah, no, not really. We have. I mean, I applied for the position back in February, so you get approved to run. Then we had to go through a panel where we presented our proposed term plan and theme before the panel, and then the panel basically gets to decide if they're going to allow you to run.
So basically, both young men that are going to be nominated are very qualified and.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't nominate anybody from the floor.
Well, you can't just nominate a chump. I mean, a knucklehead.
DeMolay is for your chumps.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
But yeah, no, I mean, someone could nominate someone, but it wouldn't be, approved. It wouldn't be allowed. Nothing would really happen there.
That'll be the fun of going to that convention, nominating people from the floor.
Now, running for state office, you probably have been master counselor of your local chapter, correct?
I have, yeah, maybe 1 too many times.
Yeah, how many times have you done that?
I don't know the exact number, but it's definitely upwards of 5 or 6.
You're the Chris Gibson of of DeMolay.
Now, to be fair, DeMolay chapters run in 6-month terms, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
But they meet. This is interesting. They meet twice a month, so they're getting the same number of meetings that we would as Masons, annually.
okay.
Sans maybe our extra meetings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry's just groaning into the microphone.
Twice a month. Jeez.
How long will your term as? How long is the state officer term?
That's a full year, so July to July every year.
And how old were you when you got involved?
Well,
Because you had mentioned off air in the beginning. I mean, a couple of your relatives we know from our Freemasons, and we know from Masonic things.
yeah, so I got involved when I was around 12 years old. So it's definitely been it's almost been 8 years now. That's crazy.
And you just celebrated your first year Masonic birthday.
My first Masonic birthday.
Right.
Yeah, just yesterday.
So yeah, you see, you're one of those. Is that common that there's guys both in Blue Lodge and in DeMolay?
I think it's definitely starting to become more common. I'm seeing a lot of my Facebook friends, go through their journeys now. But out around the country, it's a lot longer process.
And is it kind of like? I mean, I didn't know about DeMolay when I was a kid. I just knew about Boy Scouts. So if I would have started at 18, there wasn't enough time on the calendar for me to progress up through, the ranks. But, you could do that still in DeMolay if you got in maybe at 15 or 16.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like too late.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's ever really too late. It's just about how much you put into it. If you're going to put a lot into it, and chances are you might get a lot out of it. You might be able to jump up in the line and make a run.
In my limited experience at the Eton chapter too, I mean the chapters are relatively small compared to like a traditional Blue Lodge, right? How many members in your chapter?
In my chapter on the books, there's probably around 40. We have a good chunk that's active, 6 to 12, kind of.
So it's 6-month terms. It's pretty easy to cycle through those guys several times.
Yeah, because my wife and I mentor an 11-year-old boy who's he's a quint, so he's one of 5 kids, and he's kind of shy. And we were just discussing. We thought DeMolay would be great for him because every kid I see in all the Masonic youth groups is a great public speaker like yourself, and I don't know. I just think it would really help with his confidence, but I'm really not sure how to go about doing it.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest thing I've gotten from DeMolay is confidence. You always hear, I always hear about the 12-year-old boy who couldn't, who would sit in a corner and couldn't really talk to anyone. And that was definitely me going through middle school. And still is a little bit, but it's definitely helped me to branch out and develop, a level of self-confidence that I feel comfortable doing things like this, going to banquets and speaking on behalf of DeMolay, or just going up to someone on the street and talking about, hey, you should get involved in DeMolay.
So if I had to tell this young man about DeMolay, what would I tell him? What would be a normal type of activities he would do when he gets in as a newbie not knowing anything?
Yeah, so really there's no set activities. It's whatever the guys want to do. It's typically whatever the master counselor wants, but if you bring up in a meeting that I want to do a video game party, then you just need to iron out the details. I really see DeMolay as it's like Boy Scouts, but we're more on, I think, the business side of things. Event planning, program planning, all those types of business type of skills. So then it's either the master counselor or the young man who brought up the idea coming up with, all right, where are we going to do this? How much is this going to cost? What are we actually going to do?
What's interesting, having done my advisor training, and I'm a terrible advisor that isn't super active, but the activities and the planning truly are done by the young men, with the exception that those activities typically need to be vetted through the advisory council, but strictly from a insurance and safety standpoint. But if the event meets all the criteria, then it's typically game on.
Yeah, it's where we really try to keep the advisors to advising. They help out in various aspects, but by providing their input, it just helps us to develop as leaders on our own.
But okay. So if you're going to plan an event, they really try to get you to make the calls and do okay.
Yep.
What is the age group, the age requirements for DeMolay?
Well, we already answered that, Larry, but you were sleeping. But Tyler, if you could say it again, that'd be great.
It's 12 to 21 years old.
12 to 21.
Yeah. Typically, no one joins when they're 20 and a half, but that could potentially happen.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 19.
19.
Yep.
You could pass for 25.
Really?
Yeah, you could go into a pub, they wouldn't even ID you.
Okay.
Of course,
Not that I'm giving you that direction.
Of course, the elder statesman in the room is the one that's the most inappropriate.
And by pub, you mean the soda shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think our own Seth Anthony, wasn't he a Mason before he was a DeMolay? Or maybe not him.
Joey
Doherty, that's who, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mason before he was a DeMolay.
Seth Anthony got him in. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if, Joey even knew about DeMolay because, Joey's dad, held membership in a
But he wasn't
Masonic
super
lodge.
active.
Right. And I think that, Joey knew about it through his father. And then I think Seth turned him on to DeMolay.
And Joey still looks like he's 14.
Yeah. Joey.
Yeah, you've definitely leapfrogged Joey in height, and your voice is deeper.
So, being a Mason, a year in now, how similar or dissimilar? I mean, do you find DeMolay and Freemasonry?
A lot of things, through meetings and through the degrees, I've been like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense now. But one of the big things that I can't get over is, see, in DeMolay, we square our corners, and then I'll just see people, just walking casually, and I'm just, what's going on?
Well, that's a Pennsylvania thing. Other states do square their corners.
Okay.
So yeah.
So
Not in South Carolina, we didn't.
No, but I would assume that
that's because everybody's got a
DeMolay
limp
started,
down there and
I
they
guess.
can't walk
right,
straight.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in Kansas,
Missouri.
Oh, Missouri.
Yeah.
Then
It's Kansas City, Missouri.
Right.
Missouri.
Geography.
The Prince Hall lodges do the squaring of the corners and very military type.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I just need to get out of Pennsylvania, then go see some lodge work in other states.
Well, you guys will be well prepared for marching in the military if you decide to go that route.
Yeah, that's. I know we have a young man in our chapter now. He's JROTC, and he's looking to go to the Marines.
Do you think DeMolay helped him in that?
JROTC really helped him in DeMolay, and DeMolay, I think, is helping him in JROTC too. Definitely, I've seen discipline come out of him.
Is that on the high school level? ROTC?
Yeah.
My high school didn't have that. At college we had ROTC, but we didn't.
My high school had guns.
Like gun class?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
shooting teams. Yeah. We could take our 22 to school the day of our shooting classes and put it in our locker.
Wow.
Not today.
1959, though. Come
Right.
on.
The family blunderbuss back in the late 1800s. Oh, let's take a quick break and we'll be back with Tyler. And we're back. So Tyler, like I mentioned earlier, I've got a young man that I think would be good at, or he would get a lot out of DeMolay. My Masonic schedule is pretty packed, and I feel like if I was to bring him into this, that I would have to be the one that would take him to meetings and pick him up. But you were saying spouses can do that as well. So,
Yeah.
so what do we call the male advisors and female advisors? If you could touch on that.
Yeah, so in DeMolay, the male advisors, we call them dad, and the female advisors, we call them mom. Dad Ruggieri, mom Ruggieri.
Hey, you got my name right. Wow.
Yeah. Long-time listener.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and that comes from when the young men, they were first starting DeMolay, they felt that calling Dad Frank S. Land, they felt that calling him Frank, was a little too informal, and calling him Mr. Land was a little too formal. And you have to know that, so DeMolay started in 1919. A lot of young men were without fathers. The Great War, World War I, had just happened, so Dad Land and the other original advisors of DeMolay were sort of father figures to these young men. And that's what a lot of advisors have been to me. That's one of the reasons why I became a Mason, because I met so many amazing Masons who really pushed me in DeMolay.
So tell us a little bit. I'm reading, I guess your program, your proposed program. So for your, I guess not year, it'd be 6 months. It
would be a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to win and become state master counselor, explain a little bit about your platform here and your program.
Yeah, so it's based on two things that I'm really interested and passionate in, and that's Star Wars and a little bit of Freemasonry. Really, the light aspect in Star Wars. The title of the theme is A Brotherhood Awakens, so it comes from The Force Awakens, and really trying to reignite the brotherhood of DeMolay.
Well, I saw a lot of paging through it. I mean, different steps where you have a lot of Star Wars type references. I saw the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
You know, if you make how many, a handful of meetings, is that traveling meetings or your own meetings?
Going to other chapters throughout the state. We have a traveling judge. You go to other chapters and you take the judge from them. It's a huge gavel. So really trying to reinforce getting out and visiting our brothers, because I really think that's where DeMolay is. That's where you get the most out of DeMolay, is seeing A, how others do it, and then B, just building on that brotherhood by going to them to see how they do it.
This is pretty neat. When I worked at Guitar Center, we had a district manager way back in the day who was a big Star Wars fan, and all the stores could compete against each other for their metrics and get the X-Wing Fighter Award, and he had
nice.
a big fancy X-Wing, turned into a trophy. It was cool.
An X-Wing guitar would be really cool.
An X-Wing guitar, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Pete.
No, it's okay. I'm ADD, and my train of thought's completely out the window now.
What's the Kessel Run?
We just discussed that
But I don't know what it is.
in the movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, Jace.
Which movie was it in?
It was in the 4. Is where we
yeah.
heard about the first time, but in the
A New
current
Hope,
solo
yeah.
movie, they actually do it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
The
that
Kessel
one yet.
Run. He made in 13 parsecs.
I think it was 12 parsecs.
He rounded down.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Sorry. I was a Star Trek
man.
guy. Is that worse? Is this like my third strike?
I'm a Star Trek guy too. I'm both.
I went to school with a guy by the name of Billy Kessel up in Tower City.
Did he run?
He ran, yeah. Ran a lot.
Run, Kessel, run.
So,
Nice.
oh my goodness. So I have some Masonic friends in the Philly area, and they were trying to tell me about how impressive I don't know if it was a state competition or it's a national competition you guys go through with. Is it Ritual?
Yeah. We have in Gettysburg. It's in Gettysburg this year. It's called the Mid-Atlantic Tournament of Champions, and it's basically Region 2 of DeMolay International, and that's New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. And we get together, and it's typically the best of the best in each jurisdiction that come and compete.
And is it similar to Blue Light? Because I've not been to a DeMolay meeting. Is similar as far that what are the titles of the chairs?
Yeah, so we have the master counselor, senior counselor, junior counselor. Then we have 2 deacons. They sit in the same spot as the senior and junior deacon. Then we have the senior and junior steward, who sit in the places of the senior and junior master of ceremonies. We have standard bearer, who presents the flag during the meetings. The marshal and the chaplain, and the marshal escorts everyone in the room.
So when you do your competition, is it your local chapter as it goes as a group, and they're judging everything, or is it just like maybe the master counselor's got the long part?
Yeah, no, we really MATOC it's more focused on the individual competition. So we have young men who compete in the ceremony of light, which is a DeMolay ceremony, and the flower talk, shield talk. Really, ritual competitions are more focused on individuals. There are some chapters who are large enough and active enough to be able to put on team competitions, which would be running through a meeting or doing the degrees. But at MATOC and at a tournament down in Texas that I went to this past March, it's mainly the individuals, because nowadays chapters really aren't that big enough and active enough to be able to do these full-on ceremonies.
So are you, as a member and your family, are you on the hook for all the traveling expenses, or how does that work?
Yeah, so as an elected city officer, there is a travel fund that we are able to expense, some parts of travel.
Because, dues are not that high, from what I heard.
It's a one-time fee. I know I paid $65 to join, and so that was a one-time fee. Every chapter is a little bit different in how much they need to get by. Some chapters just do the basic $35, which gets sent to DeMolay International. Other chapters, I think 65 is probably the highest I've seen.
And do you guys do regular fundraisers like other Masonic groups?
We try to. I know my chapter specifically, we do an annual peanut brittle. We make peanut brittle. This past year, I believe we made between 250 and 300 pounds.
It's good.
Yeah, I can definitely bring some on for the show. You guys taste
absolutely. We'll give
sometime.
you some plugs.
There may or may not be leftovers left at the consistory on
You guys
on
didn't eat
occasion.
it all? Oh man. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know that the Harrisburg Forest for the Tall Cedars, they make a ton of money selling peanut butter eggs.
Yeah.
And they sell those things everywhere, and they, like even like in
Jerry Bucko gave me some after our
convenience
one
stores.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, even though we talk about the Hoover family, Scott Hoover's wife Sandy Hoover, I know that they're tied into the Elizabethtown chapter, but I believe that Sandy does come up and typically helps with the peanut brittle event.
I know one thing that our chapter needs to do is chicken pot pie dinner. I know that you guys love chicken pot pie.
It's funny because I know
It's been so long since I had it, I almost forget what it
I know,
tastes like.
and you know what? We haven't really, the show used to talk about pot pie all the time. I think we need to bring it
'Cause
back.
I haven't had it.
Maybe I'm so
Well,
far back. in the
Lodge
show.
43.
Oh, Larry woke up. We're talking about food.
Pilgrim is in Harrisburg.
Yeah. Yep.
You're not responsible for the pot pie dinner in Elizabethtown.
No.
No.
Okay.
However, I know we're going to go around the horn later, but just so you know, when you listen to this episode, it would have already happened. But this Wednesday is my stated meeting at 43, and we are having chicken pot pie.
This Wednesday.
And it's the official visitation of the district deputy. You should come down.
I'll definitely
I'll be on the road to Indiana eating probably at a Turnpike Sbarro or
Go to a
Panera Bread.
KFC. Get your KFC.
But I will come down. Could you tell them I'm coming?
Sure.
How much is it?
$10.
$10.
I'll tell you what, you come, you be my guest. How's that?
Okay, I'll be there. Do I have to put a coat and tie on?
I know that I'm going to save $10. Well, are you going to stay for the meeting or you're just going to eat?
No, I'm not going to stay for the meeting. What do I want to stay for a meeting at 43 for?
Oh man.
It's the official visitation of the district deputy.
Then definitely I'm not going to be there. Stay. I'm coming down. For
Hey
the
guys,
pot
I don't
pie.
want to interrupt, but we're here talking to Tyler today.
Where's the mute button?
So Tyler, anything else you would like to talk about? I see you've got a whole other book here, leadership resources.
Yeah, no, that was just in case you
in
guys
case we
had
had
questions. You guys wanted to really test me.
Well, we can do that. We can always do
boy.
a spur of the moment game show
It,
and ask you
Good
some
luck.
questions.
DeMolay seems pretty intense. I mean, so Keyman, what is Keyman?
Yeah, so Keyman is Pennsylvania DeMolay's week-long leadership conference. In recent years, it's been formatted after a university, so the young men who come to it are able to major and minor in different aspects of DeMolay that they find interesting or that they want to develop in. So we have a communications and media department, a brotherhood and membership, chapter leadership, event program planning, ritual and performance, interpersonal development, and then DeMolay education for new DeMolays to get that quick jump to where we are and where they need to be.
And I guess a lot of alumni, since you're always still at DeMolay, I've heard Keyman like Dan from Grotto.
Dan Logan.
Yeah, so a lot of guys come back for these things
Yeah.
to help out or
Yeah.
to.
A lot of senior DeMolays are the ones who are now leading. A lot of the people that were in DeMolay when I first started are now the people who are running these departments at Keyman. And it's really cool. It's nice to see that they're still involved, and it's a little bit inspiring to you to see people that you grew up with, stay involved. And I know it's definitely something I want to do, even after I reach majority.
I've probably heard the speech a million times in Masonic groups, how we have to support DeMolay and support all the youth groups because that's our future. Is there, I don't know, is there any kind of numbers, but do you know roughly, like, of people of men that matriculate from DeMolay and become Masons?
There's no hard numbers, and hopefully in the near future we'll be able to start getting that because I believe it's on applications now that you check if you are a senior DeMolay.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully in the near future we'll be able to see some of those numbers. But it's definitely something that, like I said, I joined because of the advisors that I had in DeMolay that they taught me how to be a better leader, how to be a better man. And so it's something that I wanted to continue those friendships and continue that process of becoming better.
Could you mentor Larry a little bit? How to
Reverse mentoring? Is that
yeah.
what, okay.
Yeah, he needs a little guidance.
Manager, one of those.
All right, let's take another break, and we'll come back and we'll wrap up with Tyler, and we'll get to some of the other exciting stuff on our show.
And we're back. You're listening to episode 54 of the Masonic Light Podcast. We've been talking to Tyler Moyer, the Deputy State Master Counselor of DeMolay.
And hopefully, well, I mean, I don't know the other gentleman, so since we know Tyler, we're going to root for him.
Right.
Hopefully, the future
State Master Counselor of Pennsylvania. Yeah. But we're going to veer from our chat with Tyler, and most of you know by now that are listening that we have outgrown Pete's basement, and it's time for us to move into a permanent studio. You know, part of the magic of the show is that we are not on Google Hangouts. While we'll do that with our guests, but we certainly need to be face to face here as friends and brothers, and keep the shenanigans happening. But we started a GoFundMe. Right?
We did.
And the GoFundMe, and we have already gotten some donations.
So, yeah, to date, we have raised you can insert the drum roll.
Okay.
$318.
That was a great drum roll.
Yeah, I know. It's not a huge number, but you know what? We're not asking for $1 million. I think we're trying to raise $3,000. So we're 10% of the way to our goal.
Yeah. So Effort Lodge, Jack's Lodge, has been very kind to us and has offered. Larry, what are you doing?
Larry, it's not your turn yet.
They've been very generous and have offered us some space, but the space needs some walls and some work. And but I think that we promised a couple of our donors a shout out there, Pete.
Yeah, actually, honestly, it was probably the opposite. Nobody actually asked for any recognition, and they probably will yell at me later for recognizing them.
Well, then don't recognize. Well, one said say thank you.
Who?
The big one. Yeah, you know what? You can log on and see who donated money. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so lots of men logged on and donated to us. But if you would like to donate, go to GoFundMe.com/MLP-recording-studio. That's GoFundMe.com/MLP-recording-studio. Or if you just go to our website, MasonicLight.com, you'll see the link.
I feel compelled to donate, Pete. That was such a good pitch. And we're back again, episode 54. So the last couple episodes, you have not heard from Seth Anthony and Corpora Obscurum. So,
but he's been busy doing really cool Mason stuff.
He's been busy doing really cool Mason stuff. And, I think that he's ran out. These bodies have become so obscure, not even Seth can find them. But speaking...
Can we mention Seth received a great honor? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We're giving our correspondent, Corpora Obscurum, MIA Seth Anthony, a shout out because at the Pennsylvania Grand Lodge's June quarterly, Seth just won the Grandmaster's Outstanding Service Medal.
In spite of being on our show.
And I don't think they know.
Okay. No, Seth definitely deserves it. Yeah, I would give him the Best Secretary Ever award. He's been the secretary for every body I've ever seen, and he does a great job. And
now Seth said on Facebook that he typically can smell a Masonic secret from a mile away, and how they kept this a surprise from him. He was thoroughly impressed when they brought him up to the East, and the Right Worshipful Grandmaster S. Eugene Harrod presented this to him. So this is right from the Grand Lodge Pennsylvania's website, the Grand Master's Outstanding Service Medal is presented to honor Masons who have distinguished themselves through service to their community, lodge, or Grand Lodge. It's established by a resolution of Grand Lodge adopted at the quarterly communication held on December 5th, 2007. So congratulations.
Big congratulations.
Absolutely. Toast to Seth.
Well deserved.
Now, Tyler,
No
Tell-
toast, Larry.
tell
There's
us
a
about this
minor here.
this other award from DeMolay that sounds like Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Yeah, so every year the Pennsylvania Masonic Youth Foundation gives out 6 Autogas Awards.
Autogas.
HODEGAS.
Like auto gas. Okay.
Yeah.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Like if your gas light comes on and you drive too much longer, you're going to be out of gas.
Isn't that the road in,
I like
in Germany? Oh, it's the Autobahn.
I see
It's
Autobahn.
Autobahn, yeah.
Now it's a Greek.
James Bond.
Okay, say it the right way. What is it?
I believe it's Autogas.
Which is a Greek word for something very important.
Yeah, I should look that up.
Insert waiting elevator music. But tell us who is going to, and he knows, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so tell us who's going to win.
This year, Pennsylvania DeMolay selected 2 individuals, and one of those is your correspondent, Seth C. Anthony.
2 awards.
What is going on here?
Seth, quit winning awards. We need more recordings from you.
Yeah.
Yes, that way, because we can lie in the show and say we're the most awarded podcast. We'll just leave out that we've never won anything, but Seth wins everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if we distributed all of his awards amongst all of us, we'd still be the.
Our award is every day the Grandmasters don't pull our dues cards. That's our award.
That's why I hide mine. Well, congratulations, Seth. That's all I got, Pete.
Okay.
We need to talk about upcoming events in the area, right?
Yeah, so I put hopefully we can make this a regular thing going forward. I put a little plug out there on Facebook, but here's a plug for you. If your lodge has anything coming up or you're a pendant body, post it on our Facebook page, and then we'll go and, if it's timely enough that it didn't already happen by the time our show airs, we'll give it a plug. So here we go. On June 21st, Brother Dan Madrigal, who was our guest last week or 2 weeks ago, he let us know that Alto Meridiano Masonic Club will be meeting. At 7 p.m. in the Grand Lodge Room 10. They're obviously looking for bilingual brothers, but any brother is welcome. And you can be there from any of the surrounding states as well. So if you can come across the bridge from Jersey, they'd be glad to have you. Brother George Grove let us know that on July 20th, there's going to be a Masonic golf tournament, and you can visit www.lancastermasonicgolf.org, and you can register and pay at that address.
What's the date on that again?
July 20.
July 20th. That's a Friday.
Okay. Brother Ken Van Fleet of Ephrata let me know that September 15th, and I guess Jack usually plugs this one, but September 15th is the Cave Degree. There's going to be a dinner at 5 p.m. and the Entered Apprentice Degree at 7. The cost is $35, and that'll be at Indian Echo Caverns in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, which is somewhere between Hershey and Elizabethtown.
And if you, our listeners in any state or any province in Canada, want to get your blurb on our show, simply send us an email to
MasonicLightPodcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
But Larry, I still wasn't done my list, but thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Pete,
ahead.
let me know when you're done your list because I have something.
Thank you so
but
much,
I can wait.
Jason.
Yes, no problem.
Larry I think his defibrillator just kicked in and he just got a little crazy. Tuesday, July 17th, Robert Fulton, Eastern Star, is holding a fun night for Bunko. Do you know what Bunko is?
Yeah, what is Bunko?
No clue.
BUNCO.
It's for all you and all your chumps.
Yeah. Anyway, and a light meal, $10. Meals at 6:30, and this is in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. At the Quarryville Masonic Lodge. Yeah, and this one's pretty funny. This is one that's not from the area. Brother Joseph has a Masonic quiz night, June 26th, Tuesday night, at Lodge. I'm going to not know how to pronounce it. Apanui, Apanui, number 395, in Wakatane, New Zealand. I'm sure I butchered all that, but
I hope they didn't set you up to say something bad.
yeah, I hope they did. That'd be awesome.
But it sounds interesting. I'd like to go to that.
You should.
You should, go. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
So, talking about traveling, some traveling schedule, something fun that we're doing on June 19th, which is a Tuesday. Myself and anybody who would like to go, we're going with Brother Jim Stevens to one of the Philadelphia Royal Arch chapters, and he's going to receive his Royal Arch degree. So we're going to be in Philadelphia. So if any Philadelphia brothers would like to come say hello,
And buy us cheesesteaks.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get at least a couple guys to go. So that's going to be at Grand Lodge, Royal Arch degree. So if you're in the area, please reach out. We'd love to see you. And then the big event of the summer
is me going to Supreme Council on Wednesday.
You going to Supreme Council for Grotto on Sunday? No. July 21st, Brother George Grove as well. George Grove the 3rd. So July 21st, after you're done golfing, is the big district
skydiving debacle.
Skydiving.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, here's the deal, all right? So a handful of guys are going to...
1 out of 4 Masons in this room is
yes,
meets the weight requirement.
So if you want to skydive, you can sign up to actually skydive. However, events for the day, there's going to be, we're hoping to have a family picnic, and there will be, they're planning a couple jumps that will be demonstration jumps that I believe they're going to jump with the American flag and possibly a Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania or a Masonic flag of some sort, smoke and the whole deal. So there will be fun on the ground for those of us that are over 220 pounds, and there's going to be fun in the air for those of you that are
is there tailgating allowed for the non-jumpers?
Yeah, so that's basically the drop zone. So there's the drop zone party, the ground crew. Watch our Facebook page. We'll certainly share anything that the First Masonic District has out there.
Are they going to do a turkey drop like WKRP?
That'd be pretty fun.
Oh, the humanity! I really thought turkeys could fly. Oh,
but I think that's all we got for upcoming events at the moment.
Tyler, what do you have coming up? Anything cool?
Well, like I said earlier, I have DeMolay International Sessions in Alexandria, Virginia, from June 18th to June 20th to the 24th. I have Job's Daughters this coming weekend, Knights of Pythagoras on Sunday, and then Eastern Star on Monday.
What's Knights of Pythagoras?
It's just like DeMolay. It's the Prince Hall sponsored youth organization for young men, very similar to DeMolay.
Nice. Anything else?
And then that's it for this week, or?
Yeah, pretty much. And then in the next few weeks, it's installation season pretty much for DeMolay. So traveling across our great Commonwealth to visit with some brothers, install some new officers, and then we have convention July 20th through the 22nd.
Now, let me interrupt one more time. So, your schedule is just as busy as any other busy Mason out there, but you're in college too.
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to school for?
I'm trying to major in supply chain management.
And where are you going to school?
I go to Penn State Harrisburg currently.
With plans to move to?
SMEAL, which is the business school up at University Park.
And you also work?
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
I'm currently at Target. I work in the back room over there and a variety of other tasks that get assigned.
We call ours Target because it's in the fancy neighborhood. Yeah.
Target Boutique.
Boutique Target.
How does your work and school schedule? How especially your work schedule? How do they put up with your Masonic schedule?
Well, the good news is the good thing about Freemasonry and DeMolay is that I know about events months in advance, so I'm able to pretty much request off months in advance, weeks and months. So they're pretty lenient about that. But it's these, out of nowhere events that it's a little bit more tough to weasel my way out.
Nice.
So I guess we just have. I'll just blurt it out here. So what I'm thinking, what I do. Dating's pretty much impossible.
It's a little bit tougher, yeah, it is.
And have you ever had to try to explain?
So many times.
And how
It's weird. So like lately with the people I've been trying to talk to, I explain that I'm a Freemason there, and they're like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, what? I mean, growing up in high school and trying to explain DeMolay to people, I always got that like people knew what Freemasons were for the most part, and it's really weird trying to. Cause I mean, now their first impression of what it is based on you. So
yeah, I just I didn't know about the Masons. I mean, I saw the weird funny sign and I saw the weird building with no windows, but I really didn't know about it till I joined at 28.
I mean,
I didn't know that DeMolay existed. Until I was deeply into the Masons.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky that we're married, but I could not imagine trying to find my spouse with my Masonic schedule now.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at my and Larry, most of my dating was in like that 5 to 10 year period when after I was worshipful master and I just kind of like went underground. I kept paying all my dues, but I just I didn't go to anything.
The good thing is I'm used to having a busy schedule. I mean, I wrestled for 12 years, so that wasn't just a winter sport. That was an all year sport. But it's definitely going to be an interesting next decade. This.
And
whole
before you could
thing.
drive, your parents were driving you around all this stuff?
Yeah, for the most part. We tried to keep it more on the local level. Philadelphia was usually as far as we went, and then if I had to go out to Pittsburgh or something, it was usually for a state event. So.
But you've mentioned since you've been here, Kansas City, Texas.
Yeah.
Where else have you? I mean, I know we're going to end the interview, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
where else have you been?
I've been. I went to a chapter out in Hawaii when we were on vacation. Went to a chapter down in Tennessee, and then Kentucky DeMolay. I've been there once so far, and I'm going to their conclave the second week of July or the first week of July. So it's getting to experience that brotherhood, beyond borders, beyond just. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that I really enjoy, and definitely in Masonry, I plan on doing something similar.
Conclave. You wear red robes?
In DeMolay, we wear black.
Black robes.
Yeah, black
Whoa,
robes.
this is really good. Interesting.
It's like a cape and mantle. Is that what you call it, or no?
No, we just call them capes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think Tyler, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I mean, we
thank you for
could just
having me.
keep going here, but.
I don't want your listeners to have like a 4-hour, podcast.
Oh no, we say that for Jack Aquilina. He gets
No, but I mean, I think our listeners can see, there's great benefits to the youth organizations. They really do, make young men into fully functioning adults.
Yeah.
And I see so many, especially in this generation with growing up with cell phones and growing up with all these other things and kids just looking down at their hands. They don't really have to interact with other human beings. I just, you guys really distinguish yourselves from the other young people out there. Larry, do you have anything to say, or are you going to just go back to sleep?
No.
All right.
I mean, I have nothing upcoming, really, so.
I meant to Tyler.
To Tyler. Oh, no, thanks for being on the show. It's been an enlightening experience. Jeez Louise.
Oh, Jason, want to wrap up?
Yeah,
You
so-
got to take us out of here.
Oh, am I going to take us
Well,
out?
no, I
of here?
guess Larry will.
I'll
but-
take you
Well,
out of
I
there.
did want to mention that most of our Masonic listeners have heard about DeMolay before. If this is the first time that you're hearing about it, if for some reason we have a non-Mason listening,
DeMolay.org?
DeMolay.org, and just if you're curious how that's spelled, that's DEMOLAY.org. So if you have a youth that's that you think has potential to join their youth organization, DeMolay.org, check it out.
Tyler, what date was Jacques DeMolay put to death?
Well, he was burned at the stake on March 18th, 1314.
Well done. You win a Dum Dum Lollipop.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
Are we done? Is Larry going to take us out?
Larry, take us out of here.
All right.
Cue the chickens.
Clue the chickens. Cue the chickens.
Clue 'em.
Clue 'em.
Heidi, she's adorable.
Hey, special thanks to Monarch Studios for continuing to allow us to record here. To our producer, Jason, don't hit me in the eye with that thing. To our producer, Jason Lewis, who always does a great show. To Brother Jack Harley, our news director. We have no news tonight. Jack Harley's not here. Black Harley's hung up in traction somewhere. God only knows where. Gosh.
Guys, it was a laser pointer.
And anyway, yeah, the laser in the eyeball. Special thanks to our guest coordinator. You be kidding me. Our special events manager, I am Nutta. And the studio cleaning help. I got to give a special shout out to the studio cleaning help, Mrs. S. Crummy, and finally to the Doberman trainer, One Arm Jack. This is Larry Maris,
Pete Ruggieri.
Jason Lewis and
Tyler Moyer.
Good night. Thanks for listening.